Feels so good to be back. So, hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Thru Autistic Eyes. I am your host, Christopher D. Casson, an autistic visual artist who is just rediscovering the world. And today with me is someone I first met at, it was at the Unstoppable conference, actually in Naples, Florida. And so Kevin here is also the developer for the nonprofit Warrior Horse, from his calling to help those who have served in the military regain their lives through equine therapy, where a bond is created between horses and man to help our military veterans regain their lives from PTSD, also known as post-traumatic stress disorder. So we're going to really get into that, and I really want to thank you for your time to join us. You have no volume. Okay. Gotta love those technical difficulties, huh? Yeah, just check it to see if the mute button is on or off, or if it's the headphone. Still nothing. Oh my. Oh, I heard something. Nope. No voice. Oh my. What happened there? Well, anyway, let's say hello to everyone that's here until he gets to until we figure this out. So, hey there. Hey. Okay, let's I keep hearing a random click or something, but then still no volume. Yeah, the odd thing is this was actually working right before we went on air, and then I started coming on, and then suddenly, boosh. She says earbuds instead of Bluetooth. Well, while he gets... I'll let this side of the dog entertain us while we figure this out. There we go. Say hi. Anyway. So, there we go. Still nothing. How about, is Bluetooth on, or maybe you should try it off and just try to speak right into the phone. Oh dear. Oh boy. Oh, now he's back. I can see you, but I still can't hear you. Try muting and unmuting him. Okay, let's see. Okay, try speaking. Nope, nothing. I still can't hear. Oh my gosh. I don't know, maybe just disconnect the Bluetooth earphones and see if it just works through the phone.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can finally hear you. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Just a little hiccup.
Yep, just a little hiccup. So, and
I just can't hear you as clear as I could.
Yeah. Oh.
I can hear the dog barking.
Yeah, and that's a signal, but keep on going.
Okay.
So, let's see. Take them down from the line and bring them back up. Well, you want to try that with the headphones on to see if it works?
Yeah, because the I can hear you so much better with the
Okay, so let's try
earbuds
it
in.
again. If we go over time, that's fine.
This thing, they may not have been fully charged. The green light was on.
Well,
That's okay. We'll just wing it like
yeah,
this.
we'll just wing it.
I,
So,
I'll just listen real closely.
okay. So, anyway, just tell us. Let's just get the ball rolling. Just tell us just who you are, and just you know, how things are going since all the hurricanes have been going over where you are.
Nice and wet and really windy. But that's all good. Like I told you earlier, I'm in a dry place, so it doesn't affect me too much.
So, anyway, to get to tonight's topic, which is towards equine therapy and veterans. So, how did you come across the thought of being around horses as therapeutic?
Well, my wife and daughter brought home a 3-month-old Arabian about 15 years ago. And of course, they didn't tell me. They just showed up with it. Here they all are in the backyard.
Big
So I was
surprise.
yeah, it's like,
Get your
okay,
daughter a pony.
exactly. Puppy's one thing, but here we got a 3-month-old horse that I know nothing about. So my wife ended up wanting to get a horse so she could ride with my daughter. And I already knew that my daughter had at least 2 years before she was ever going to get on that horse because they have to be at least 2 for their knees to be full. So my wife ended up buying a retired thoroughbred at an auction that they were selling for a little girl that had cancer. So my wife bought the horse, big old 16 hand thoroughbred. And I ended up making a bond with that horse. And when that magic took place that I didn't even know existed, I knew that I wanted to share that experience in a way that would impact lives.
Yeah, so tell us more about this, as best you could describe about this bond, because I remember experiencing something similar to when I was like, what was it now? Yeah, it has been a little bit over a month now since I actually visited Cottonwood equine coaching, the ranch area in Montana, and actually interacted with the horses for the first time in my life, just up close, and there was just that something, and I'm kind of curious if you could describe it better than I can.
It's hard to find words to describe what it is because it hits you from all sides. It comes at you mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And that's the only creature that I know that really has that impact on you. I mean, for one thing, they're, quite a bit larger than we are, 3 to 5 times our size. They can't speak to us. All they can do is try to communicate with us in a way that they know to do. And it's just the fact that they're non-judgmental. They don't care who we are, what we've been through, what's on our mind right now. Horses only live in the moment. And when you were standing there with them, that's the only thing they were thinking about or caring about. They weren't worried about COVID or if the hurricanes are coming or when their next meal is going to be there. They were just concentrating on you. And
well, partially the first group were actually concentrating on eating, but
was it feeding time?
yeah, it ended up being feeding time for them. So
Yeah, it turns into a frenzy when there's food involved.
yeah, yep. And as Patrick here says, horses are ridiculously intuitive.
Oh, absolutely. And every one of them, just like us, has a different personality. I'm down to 10 horses now, and every one of them is slightly different in their personalities. They're intuitive, they're playful, they're curious. Some of them are scared as a lark, scared of their own shadow. Some of them just want to be scratched. Some of them want to run and play. It's You just have to spend time with them, just like you do humans, to find out which one has what personality and how you can best relate to them.
So going off of that, how did you relate to the first horse you actually bonded with?
Well, I was kind of scared to death, to be honest with you.
Mm,
I'd seen a professional farrier that's been doing it his whole life get kicked by this horse and knocked right under her.
mm,
And he was squirming like a cartoon trying to get out with his rasp. And I'm like, if somebody like that that's been around them their whole life is going to get tortured like that, surely that's the end of the horse I want to stay away from.
yeah.
But like I said, I was just working with the horse in the round pen, and we were just working on communicating with one another. And at the right time, I had slightly turned my back, and she decided that I had proved myself as a leader. So she came up to me and just nudged me with her head.
Mm,
And when that impact hit me, I just lost all sense of well-being.
yeah, because I remember, let's see, the first one was with a group of male horses, and of course there was the dominant leader over there, which it was more like he kind of edged a little bit further away from me, just going around the cage with the all the food in the trough,
Right.
and even then, just like he still kept eye contact with me in some regard. So if I remember it right, but then later on with the females, where they were a little bit of feeding along with the newborns, and just me going, yeah, the whole, I don't know, the baby was kind of like going around the mother, like kind of away from me, but the mother just stood still. And I could have sworn I've heard her said that that one I interacted with was actually rather protective. So it was kind of impressive that I was able to just go up instead of her getting defendant.
I know I had that with that big thoroughbred that my wife had bought. The reason they had it at auction is because she hurt her knee, couldn't race anymore on the track,
Hmm.
and she couldn't breed.
Hmm.
Well, to everyone's surprise, 6 months after we had her, woke up one morning and there's a foal out in the field. She had
Huh.
given birth to a foal. And by that time, I had already established a good relationship with the mother.
Hmm.
And when I was out in the pasture, the mother would walk off and graze and just leave the baby with me.
Hmm.
But if anybody else came out in the pasture, that baby was right next to the mama the whole time. She would not let her out of her sight.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a great feeling knowing that a horse trusts you enough with their baby.
Hmm.
You got to feel that immediately when you were with that one. It's amazing.
Yeah, I wasn't even sure because I honestly don't know very much about horses, to be honest. Mm, I mean, there was like, I think there was one area recently where they were raising horses like nearby here in Indiana, but I just never actually gone up close like this before. So, and we kind of get those kind of connections with our pets, such as cats, dogs as well, and can also view them as therapeutic in their own ways. But how does equine therapy different, or just different from that, or is it just more based on the individual preference?
Well, it's with the knowledge that you get, especially these veterans. They come into a classroom setting for most of the day,
Mm,
to where we teach them about horsenality, which is, of course, the horse's personality, the way they think, the way they do, why they think, why they act and react the way they do, and all the common things that a horse deals with on a daily basis that are the same things that veterans deal with on a constant basis.
hmm,
And just the sheer fact that, the veterans say it all the time, those horses are so huge. It's just intimidating to be in front of an animal that big that can do whatever it wants, whenever it wants, but it chooses to be your partner and communicate with you.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
I don't know, because I was distracted by this comment of horses should moderate the next presidential debate.
Go ahead, Patrick.
I think that horse really would be better considering, but we're not here to discuss politics, obviously. And actually, we got a question here. In your program, do you pair up your guests with horses, or do they pick the horse they want to work with during the program?
No, actually, that's a great question. And it comes along quite often. But I actually pick the horse based on the veteran's personality. So
Okay.
let's say you got a big, tough Marine that doesn't back down to anybody. He's just stout, stern, and I got to be in charge. Well, guess who he's going to get? He's going to get the same kind of horse that's not going to back down to anybody, that is going to take a lot of work, and they're going to mirror each other's personality when they get together. So if I put a real meek and mild veteran with the real harsh horse, they're not going to be able to communicate real well. So it is truly, I just pick them based on the veteran's personality.
So how did you go about the process of discovering the horse's personality so you can make those kind of matches?
Time in the pasture. Over probably the first 5 years that I've had horses, I spent so much time in the pasture with them in the evenings and on the weekends, and just one-on-one playing with them, working with them, communicating with them. And I know them just as well as I do my own daughter. I mean, I can tell you how they're going to act and react, and what kind of mood they woke up in the barn, and you know how they're going to move, if they're going to come to you, if they're going to come away from you, if they're scared, if they're going to be curious. It's no different than human relationships. I mean, the more time you spend with somebody, the more you're going to learn their behavior, their thoughts, and you'll be able to predict what their next moves are going to be. Like if you're working with somebody, for instance, I've got the chimney business as well. And after witnessing actions and reactions over constant period, you know what's going to come next because you've experienced it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I kind of get that with the dog here constantly barking at random noises.
I have one of those too.
Yeah, and apparently I dislike and everyone except humans just wanting to chase them. It's just.
And see, that's another thing, that horses don't show their emotion much, and very little actually. They don't run to you wagging every time they see you. Their tail isn't just flopping. I'm happy to see you. I missed you. I missed you.
Yeah.
And when I made that bond with Blue, who made it all possible for this, I was gone out of town for 5 weeks, and even the professionals told me, horses are not emotional. So the whole time I was gone, I was like, is this horse even going to realize that I'm not anywhere close to the pasture? So when I got home, I went out to the pasture and I whistled my whistle, and she threw her head up and went to looking, and I whistled again, and she saw where I was, and she was at the other end of the pasture and ran like a scalded dog to get to me. And every time I went out there with her for the next 2 weeks, she was right next to my hip. She would not leave me. So that told me all I needed to know. That was reality.
Sounds like they actually have emotions after all there.
They do. They absolutely do.
Yeah, and the questions are really coming in here. Do you ever have to change the horse guests up?
Change the horse? I'm assuming you mean if a veteran's in there and the horse isn't working out with them?
Yeah, I'm assuming that's what.
I had one with a Vietnam veteran, and all indications in preliminary meetings with him, and even in the classroom, was that he was he was stern, and he was going to get out there, and he's the leader, he's the boss. He got out there with the horse, and he couldn't even send the horse off. Oh, I can't do that. She's so beautiful. I'm like, okay, I read him completely wrong, but I've got the exact horse he needs. So we just let him work with that horse for a little while, and I went and got one that paired up to his new personality, and they clicked immediately, and everything worked out wonderfully. Yeah, and a matter of fact, it's one of the pictures you have is that veteran.
Right. So let's get to that. The internet is so slow today. You know what? I'm gonna. Yeah, you gotta love text. So I'm guessing it's this person, or
that's the one.
Yep, and the horse's name is.
That is Daisy.
Daisy. Okay.
That's everybody's favorite horse right there.
Yeah, since we're going at the photos here, let's take a look at another one here.
So this is a real meek and mild veteran. So I went and got him Carly's horse, Bunny. She's about 14 years old. And while he was working the horse out in the arena, I could tell that Bunny was wanting to lay down. So as you see, I got him on his knee. I told him, get on your knee and tap the ground and watch what happens. Well, he got on his knee and tapped the ground, and much to his surprise, Bunny just went ahead and laid down. And it's very unusual for a horse to be trusting enough to lay down next to a human. But the fact that he actually initiated that changed his life forever.
And we're going to have another one here. Who is this?
So that is Misty. That's Blue's little baby brat.
Baby brat?
Yeah, she's something else. She's absolutely a mess, because she was born when we didn't know much of anything about horses. So she got kind of spoiled. And when her mom passed away, she ended up being second in line in the pecking order out in the pasture.
Okay. So I believe we have, man, we're getting questions out of left field here. Is it true scene in the movie about them letting someone lift up their hind leg?
Yes, as a matter of fact, excuse me just a second. Let me plug my phone back in. As far as lifting their legs up, one instance had a farrier come with Blue, and I knew how high I could lift Blue's leg, her back leg that she had injured. If you lifted it any higher than that, there was going to be trouble, so to speak.
Retribution.
Yes. And I told him, here I am, just old country boy, just learning about horses. But I knew enough about Blue. I told him, I said, when you lift up her back left leg, don't lift it up past level. Hey, Ted, don't lift it up past level, because if you do, it's going to hurt her, and she's going to let you know about it. Well, the next thing you know, he just had to try and find out if it was true. So she swung her leg completely out, knocked his feet out from under him, and he was sitting there, and he just looked up at me. I said, I don't know what else to do other than to tell you what not to do. Exactly. He said, well, she just doesn't like this rasp on her. I said, give me the rasp. So here I am in flip-flops and shorts. I walked over there. I picked her leg up at a comfortable height for her, and I did exactly what he was trying to do. And then I put her leg down. But the horses get to trusting you just like we trust one another. I mean, when you spend enough time around them, they know if they need to be concerned with you. They know if you're a threat. They're only going to kick if they feel threatened or scared.
Okay. So, yeah, speaking of that, bonding, is that just that trust? Is that just one of many benefits to equine therapy for veterans in particular? Or what kind of what are the list of benefits for just being around these majestic creatures?
Well, the trust, first of all, when it seems when veterans come back from combat,
Hmm.
they have lost a lot of trust in humans.
Hmm.
And that just expounds out to everybody and everything. So, for the first time since the trauma occurred, they come to our program knowing that they have to be 100% vulnerable, not only to me and my staff, but to the horses. Because all the preliminary meetings, I let them know that you have to be vulnerable. If you're not, don't come because it won't work.
Hmm.
So going out there and working and communicating with something that doesn't speak English or Spanish or any other language, you just have body language to communicate with them.
You mean no Esperanto?
None at all.
Hmm.
So you just go out there with the skills that we teach you in the classroom and communicate. And before you entered that pen with the horse, you didn't trust anybody or anything.
Hmm.
But now you wholeheartedly trust that horse with all that you are. And if that could happen so quick, why can't I leave now and go home and start trusting others a little bit till they prove themselves and
Hmm.
start redeveloping the relationships I once had?
Hmm.
So the trust is a big thing. The vulnerability is a huge issue because this isn't a magic cure. The
Yeah.
bond is totally magic. There's no way I can say it any other way. But when they do this program, there hasn't been anybody come to this program, not even our staff, that
Hmm.
walked out the door that day without being improved in some area of their life.
Hmm.
And I could go out there any day of the week in the arena with any of my horses or anybody else's horses, and I can make another bond with the same horse because they don't really register what took place in the past. They don't live in the past. They don't think about things all the time that happened to them and when they were hurt or when somebody passed away or what disease is going around the world. Or, if you look at, I don't care what horse you look at, maybe except Mr. Ed, you will never see a watch on that horse because they live in the moment. And that's the magic of the program too. They don't care what the veteran's been through. They don't care what's on the veteran's mind. They only want to know, are they qualified to be my leader?
Hmm.
It's a herd of two. So there's going to be a leader regardless. Even if it's a small herd, it's a herd of two. Somebody's got to be the leader. So they're concerned with, is this one good enough to be my leader? Or do I have his number? Can I go ahead and move him around and make him do what I want him to do instead of the other way around?
Hmm. Okay, so yeah, I've just been thinking about the whole what you said with well, there were two things. One of them was about them always being in the present moment, and it's like I'm thinking back to the Buddhist teachings I've always read up and tried to practice. And it's like humanity's been trying to get in that present moment so much, and yet here we are with the horse just already in that present moment. It's like without effort, you know.
Exactly. And the more you're around horses, the more you live only in the moment.
Hmm.
And, just about, if not every time you've come in contact with me, whether it's on Messenger or at Unstoppable or wherever, I'm always in the moment. I'm not worried about what needs to be done tomorrow or what I didn't get done today or who did what yesterday or if this is going to fail. I'm just living for right now because if you don't, it passes you right by and you miss out on it.
And time gives no refunds.
Exactly. So I bought a clock that I keep in the house and look at all the time.
Hmm.
It says wisdom is in the journey, not the destination.
Right.
And I got that clock 6 years ago when I got the calling to start this program. And by having that theory in my head and living in the moment and enjoying every moment and every relationship and every situation along this journey, I haven't missed out on anything.
Hmm.
If I hadn't come to that conclusion with that mindset, there's a whole lot I would have missed out on trying to hurry up and get to the destination.
Yeah, it's one of many tools that, just get you out of your head instead of like everyone today getting all worried about, oh, what if this happens? What if this happens at work? Or who's going to get elected? What if, and it's just be like a horse.
Exactly. And when I need a little bit of anxiety relief, if it ever gets to that point, all I have to do is walk out there and look at the horses. And if I go in the pasture with them, of course, they all come up. And then it's who gets scratched first and who needs scratched the most and who wants to run and play and who wants on the other side of the fence and all kinds of stuff like that. But when the veterans come out, we've got local veterans as well that come through the program, that they don't all fly in from around the country. And the ones that are local, I always welcome anytime because they've already made the bond. So if they're having a bad day, I'll get a text. There's one of them that comes up by quite frequently, says, man, I'm having a tough day. Can I come see Jet? Can I come see my buddy? Absolutely. And when he comes in, even if I'm outside, he goes to see Jet before he even waves it, acknowledges me. He just immediately goes
like a
out there.
beeline.
Yep, he gets a release immediately. And then he's relaxed and calm, and he's got a different mindset when he approaches humans after that.
Okay. And, another thing that came up, I finally remember, is that one word, trust. Because, I've also heard of equine therapy for the autistic community, such as with the Madison House Autism Foundation. They also have a Madison Farms where they also have I believe, both autistic and veterans working together. They're based in Maryland. So it's just dealing with people who just fail to understand you. And yet here we have horses that better understand us than sometimes even we do ourselves. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And the beauty of it is the veteran doesn't have to go out there and tell the horse what's on its mind. The horse isn't going to ask, well, how does that make you feel? Well, here, take these prescriptions and come back in 2 weeks and we'll talk about it some more. Let's see if this does you any good. They go out there and don't have to verbalize anything. When they're in the classroom with us, they don't have to verbalize anything. They don't have to tell us what they've been through or what's on their mind or what monsters and demons they're fighting every night or, things like that. They get to come to this program with total release from the beginning, which is hard enough. I've got one of them that came to the program that pulled up and left 4 times in his vehicle before he ever parked the vehicle and came into the building. I mean, that's how hard it is for him to come. And that's just with 4 other veterans in the class.
Yeah, and I better get through these questions because they are just piling in. So, do you ever need volunteers? If so, what times during any year are needs the greatest? And same thing with similar question: do you have volunteers to help you or regular staff?
Well, actually, since right now they're all my horses, I usually tend to all the horses, and then we have our board of directors and all our norms that are here. So we've got plenty dealing with everything associated with the program at this time. As my horses start getting acclimated, which they will, I mean, they go in there so many times, finally they're just going to go in there and say, look, I'm tired. I'm just going to take a nap no matter what they do, because what are they going to do to me if I don't, right? So when they get acclimated to the program, we'll be bringing in retired thoroughbreds off the track that are going to start a new life and figure out what they're going to be doing from here on out. And they'll have to get acclimated with the veterans.
Okay. So another one here. For a person interested in your program and suffering from PTSD, how would they reach you?
All they need to do is go to our website, which is warriorhorse.net, and the contact information is there. I think even my personal cell phone is there, because I'm on 24/7 for veterans that need us. There's some contact information on Facebook as well under Warrior Horse.
Okay.
And there's a form that they'll fill out, a contact form that'll come directly to my email, which I check hourly, and I'll respond to them rather quickly.
Okay. So a random question here, which I never didn't come up in my mind actually. What is your favorite horse movie?
What is my favorite horse movie? Ooh, that's a tough one.
Because the only one I remember is that DreamWorks animation called Spirit.
Yeah, their Spirit. I really did like Secretariat because they actually cared about the horse. There's so many race horses that if you watch cartoons, you see the little dollar signs on the cartoons in their mind and stuff. Well, that's what a racehorse is to most racehorse owners. It's just a dollar amount.
Yeah.
But in Secretariat, they actually cared about the horse. And there was another one, I can't remember what the other movie was, but it was the same thing. They brought the horse around on the train with them and stayed in the box car with them. And, there was a relationship there.
Okay. So let's see. We've got more comments here. In first grade, we had a pony. It was my job to bring her water and food, make sure she was brushed. I used to have naps with her. We had a cabin brought up that was her house. Okay.
So I see a relationship there with that pony.
Quite the relationship. So kind of tell us more about where this calling came with that eventually developed into this vision for Warrior Horse.
Well, it was 8 years of diligent aggravation is what it was. Because when I made the bond, I wanted to use that to help others and impact lives in a manner that not many other things could do. And I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know if it was going to be with cancer patients. I've got an oncologist that's a real good friend of mine, and we discussed possibilities with that. And I just didn't know how I was going to do it. So I just aggravated God for 8 years and said, look, you put me here for something. I'm tired of waking up every day and going to work and coming home and going to bed and wash, rinsing, and repeating. There's a purpose for me. I know that there's a purpose for me. What is it? So it just so happened my daughter became a Marine. And I was out at Camp Lejeune visiting her. Teresa and I were. And we were sitting in a Red Robin when I saw a clip on ESPN that they were using horses to help veterans that were suffering from post-traumatic stress. And the lights and bells and whistles went off so loud in my head that I almost exploded. And I turned to Teresa and Carly. I said, I know what we're doing. From now on, I'm going to use horses to help veterans. That's why I'm put here. And that's what I've been doing for the past 6 years.
So, yeah, and then certainly all of us are thanking you for that. And yeah, including Sherry here saying what you do to the vets that serve our country is inspiring. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Sherry. It's all natural. I mean, I eat, live, breathe, and sleep Warrior Horse. Of course, I have the chimney business, so I go out during the day and I have to make a living too.
Yeah.
And none of the funds that are given to Warrior Horse go anywhere other than to the program. It's 100% to the veterans. There's no salaries out of it, and there's no trip expenses and stuff like that. I even built the arena out of my pocket, and it's an 80 by 200 arena that we use for the program. We got a special round pen that I designed in there to keep the horses in their quadrant and make sure that they do their job the way they're supposed to.
Okay, so you mentioned getting that spark when you heard about veterans, and of course you mentioned your daughter being a Marine. So what are some of the challenges that these veterans face after leaving service besides PTSD? Is there anything else we should keep in mind?
Well, just with the post-traumatic stress itself, it affects every aspect of their life. It's just like depriving us of sleep, right?
Yep.
That affects everything we do all day long. Well, with the veterans, they go out, they go to a combat situation. While they're away, their family moves forward. You know, they've got to live too. They come back and they've experienced things that no man, no woman is built to. I'm not going to say just experience, but be subjected to.
Yeah.
Each one of us have a different tolerance, not just for pain, but for what our mind will allow us to keep and what it puts back to hide.
Yeah.
So they come back not understanding what's going on in their mind, what their emotions are. They can't explain it to themselves. They can't explain it to their families. They don't want to burden them with that. They can't really tell anybody else about it. So they're dealing with all this. Most of the time the spouses are out working, the veterans at home on, you know, he's out of the service now, post-traumatic stress, so they don't keep him in the service. So he has nothing to do but think.
Yeah, so basically they've been forced to go into survival mode, but never told how to get out of that mode.
Right.
And they're just stuck in that repeated loop.
Exactly. And when it normally comes to them is when everybody else goes to sleep and they're laying there wide awake in their mind, reliving things that they shouldn't have ever lived to begin with. So, and you know, they're trained to be tough. Suck it up, buttercup, right?
Yeah.
You know, you don't need to sissify yourself. Let's go, let's go, let's go. You're weak if you don't do this. You're weak if you can't handle that. And they look at it like a weakness. And, you know, that, I don't know about you, but if I look at myself as weak, nothing works out. You know, you got to have enough strength within yourself to believe in yourself enough that you can function properly. So they come back with all kinds of thoughts and stuff that they can't shut off with a light switch. I mean, there's nothing to just shut your mind off. The only one that can control what's in your mind is you. And I'm not good at that myself. And I'm not a veteran. I could never do what they do. I wasn't built for that. But my past from my childhood brought me up to where I can definitely relate to what they're going through. You know, I haven't been to battle and what have you, but the post-traumatic stress and the mind and what the mind does to one, it's a horrible thing. But horses undo all that. And the fact that I can communicate with the horses and I can help the veterans by communicating with them and putting them with the horse and changing their lives. It's to stand in that round pen and watch somebody's life change in front of you and know that you had a small part in that and know that you get to do that the rest of your life. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care who you know. You can never buy that feeling. You can never get it anywhere other than by serving others.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So then, going off of that, how could other people be able to be of service to, say, the veterans that are going through that and sometimes have to be forgotten? What can they do to assist them besides, pointing them towards Warrior Horse, obviously?
Just by loving on them. By not creating thoughts in your minds on who they are or what they've been, by being a horse, by being 100% non-judgmental to them. That's what does the most good to them. And for the ones that I've been around, I found, because I never thought that part of the program was these veterans telling me what they've seen, what they've experienced, what they've been through, and what they're dealing with. I don't ask them these things. That's between them and them. My purpose is to do what I do best, pair them up with the horse and let them get that release that they're looking for, that they haven't been able to achieve. And I ask them, why do you tell me these things when you won't even go to a professional therapist and tell them the things that are going on in your head? And here it comes. Because I know you care. Because I can tell that you care enough about me that I don't mind telling you these things. Basically, because I'm not judgmental.
Trust.
Right? I trust and I love you. I'm here for whatever you need me for. You don't have to unload on me. You don't have to tell me anything. I'm not going to ask you anything. I'm here to serve you. What can I do to make your life better?
Basic advice that we should all take these days, especially.
Yeah, well, it's so easy for me. It's almost unfair because I went begging for my purpose. Right?
Right.
When I said I do, everything has pretty much been dropped on my lap. Period. I didn't have to experience loss to start it. I didn't have to lose my dad in the war. I didn't have to lose my daughter in a war because of this, because they killed themselves with PTSD. I got a calling to do it. I've got an unfair advantage. I've got somebody that's running the program, because God knows it ain't me. It's God's program. I'm just blessed to be part of it. And I can go on with stories for days to tell you all the things that were dropped on our laps for this program, simply because I know whose program it is, and I stay far enough out of the way that I don't screw it up.
Man, the word that just comes to mind is just have compassion,
Exactly.
So, and someone's out there asking, do you accept donations? And if so, how does one make donations to Warrior Horse?
Absolutely, we take donations, because Kevin's about emptied his complete wallet and savings out. Once again, warriorhorse.net. It's got a donate button on there that you can donate $1 to however much you want to donate. You can donate on a regular basis or a one-time basis. You can go to our Facebook page, and right on the front of the page, there's a donate button. You can donate. Or if you don't have any electronic guruism in you, you can just send a check to Warrior Horse at the address that's listed on both of them.
Okay.
And like I said, 100% of the proceeds goes to the program and helps the veterans.
That's the most important thing. And I kind of feel like going through so many comments here. I mean, was Tom Petty's song Free Falling playing in the background when you and Teresa were dining at Red Robin?
It probably was, Patrick. All I know is that there was a big table. It was the only table available. It was in a corner. I was facing towards the television, and I never watch television when it's the sound is muted and you got to read it, because I hate to read. But I focused on the horse, and I paid enough attention to find out what my purpose was, and that's all that mattered. There was music in the background. I'm just not sure if that was it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Coming back from that, what they go through, they start wondering, well, what's my purpose now then? It's like you're almost discarded in a way when you think about it. So this is just like another opportunity for them to just being able to discover in a different way. That's the thought that's going to my head.
Yeah, they've got to figure out now what they're going to do, how they're going to move on. What purpose do I have now? Because I've served, and what am I going to do? I still have life left. You know, the clock is ticking, and I need to do something that's going to be beneficial. And see, that's no different than the retired thoroughbred horses. They, you know, you got them out in the pasture now. You go out there, they're thinking that, well, he's going to grab me. He's going to put a saddle on me. We're going to have to go run around the track. And then all of a sudden you just come out there and you start petting the horse and spending a little time with the horse, which it probably has never had. And it's got to transition too and say, okay, well, apparently he's not going to saddle me up and work me to death. So what's my purpose going to be? So they'll start seeing that their purpose is going to be to help others. And then once the horses get rehabilitated as well, we're going to allow people to adopt them out of the program, and those proceeds will go back into the program.
Nice.
So we'll rehome the horses and have a beautiful relationship for somebody to have in the comfort of their own pasture, and be refunded with more money from the horse itself. So it will have provided to help more veterans even when it's gone.
Okay, so let's see more coming in here. Does Kevin like the Ian Fleming movie Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and what inspired him to also be a chimney sweep? Does he have any volunteers for chimney sweeping?
Well, I'm always looking for good workers, that's for sure. I try to hire veterans for employees and team members. I advertise on the radio as well that we support veterans. We have Warrior Horse, and we'd like y'all to come work with us for it. And yes, I like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. It was a tad bit long for me, especially back in the day. But we do look for good team members to help fill these vans and make more money so that we can put more money into veterans and help in different ways, because we support a lot of other veterans programs.
Yeah, earn more money so you can have more time so you can do more good.
Exactly. You heard that somewhere before.
Yeah, it was a certain program out there. It was like, what was it? Was it like Anton something? Oh, right, Anton J. Global.
Anton J, yeah. I believe. I might have done a little bit of that program.
Yeah, same here. I finished it. I just finished it right at when the whole pandemic thing started in full swing, so it just threw me in the loop. But hey, eventually get back on.
There you go.
Let's see, Proverbs 14:4 speaks of cleaning out a manger stall.
Yeah, we're in the process of finishing up the barn, so we'll have stalls for the horses. We have different pastures for them out there right now. But once we get the stalls finished up, there will be some volunteers coming in to keep up with keeping the stalls clean and the horses groomed, because I simply don't have time to do everything anymore.
So going through, Kimberly says, great to see you, Christopher and Kevin. Thank you for being of service. Thank you, beacons of light who are present. You help me navigate my dark pathways. And let's see,
It's good seeing y'all too.
Unconditional Open Heart Center. You're welcome. We all need light beacons sometimes. Yep, that's definitely true.
Absolutely. I got 10 of them out there in the pasture.
Yeah, and does she love horses, Teresa?
She does, but she's not infatuated with them as I am.
Mm.
I could actually just go out there and sleep on the round bale with them every night.
Mm.
Because once again, they never let you down. They never talk back. They're always glad when you're around.
Mm.
And, you know, you don't let them down. They don't let you down.
Mm.
And just the sheer fact that you can communicate with one another and just have that draw to spend time together. And
Yeah.
you don't have to be doing much of anything. You don't have to go to Disney World. You don't have to go to Sea World. You can just be out in the middle of a pasture with nothing but weeds and just have that communication between the two of you.
That special bond. So,
Absolutely.
thank you for what you do, Kevin. Give Jed a hug for me.
I will certainly do that, Joan.
That would be a heavenly place to be a part of. Mm-hmm.
It is indeed.
Let's see, I have a handful of friends who are combat veterans who have struggled to integrate into civilian life. Thank you both for this evening's program.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Let them know about the program.
Yeah, let them know so we can help them out. So let me see if I got everyone else here. Let's see.
Thank y'all for tuning in. We appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. So let's see. Kind of lost my place because we just went all over, but it always comes back to that point of just just reconnecting with nature, basically. So where do you see this going moving forward with Warrior Horse? With more people wanting to connect with nature for solutions.
Well, I met a good friend who's a good friend now, Mr. Duffy out there in Unstoppable.
Yeah, I remember him.
And there's been talk of a movie about the Warrior Horse program. And
Nice.
just this week I knew that things were going to start ramping back up again. And I, out of the blue, got a phone call from somebody that found out about us. And he's a veteran who's been through equine therapy and knows how delicious it is and how truthful and the benefits of it. And he works with a lot of other veterans programs like 22 Kills over in Dallas, who have had a lot of dealings with Bradley Cooper, who played Chris Kyle in The Sniper, and Clint Eastwood as well. And I've got a local who's become a friend, a country music legend here, Neil McCoy, that lives over in Longview, Texas, that really helps support the program and let others know about the program. So it is a national program, even though we're in little Podunk, Frierson, Louisiana. It's a national program, and the entire certified chimney community across the world helps to support the program, and that's where the majority of the finances come from, is all my colleagues across the world. So it's not just a little thing that people heard about at Unstoppable or seen in the local news around Shreveport area and Texarkana and Longview. There will be a time that there will be others interviewing about Warrior Horse. That'll be CBS This Morning, Good Morning America.
Great.
Because once again, it's not my program. Everybody that needs to possess money to give to a program such as this, God will see fit to put the money in their hands. Just like when we had our grand opening and I had to sign a contract for $10,000 for the banquet for the grand opening. They donated the venue at the Horseshoe for us. We didn't have to pay for the use of the building, the bartenders, the lighting, the sound, everything. was just donated to the program, but I had to sign a contract for $10,000 to
Mm.
pay for it. And that very week, I had a customer, one of my chimney customers, call me, needed his dryer vent swept. I'd been serving him for about 7 years. I
Mm.
went, it didn't really need swept, so I told him it didn't need swept. And he said he'd been on the computer and he just donated some money to a program for veterans that he felt compelled to do.
Mm.
And I told him about Warrior Horse. He said, well, let me write you a check.
Mm.
I said, that's fine. I said, but you're not going to pay me for coming out to look at your dryer duct because I didn't do anything. I always enjoy spending time with you and visiting with you and your wife. He
Mm.
said, well, I just need to write you a check. He said, who do I make it out to? I said, Warrior Horse. So he wrote the check out and he handed it to me and we hugged and we prayed together. And I went out to my van and I opened that check up. How much was the check, Christopher?
10,000.
Thank you.
Mm.
Did
Yeah.
I have to wonder where it was going to come from? No, that's not my responsibility. I don't make the money. I'm not in charge of all the money. I'm not in charge of all the people. I just need to know one being and let things take place that need to take place.
Ask and ye shall receive.
Absolutely. And sometimes you don't even have to ask. All you do is be obedient.
Mm. So, yeah, so you communicate with horses, then it's healing in so many ways.
It is indeed.
Let's see. I concur, Carol. Thank you, Kevin and Christopher, most kindly indeed. Thank
Thank
you
you,
for
Roland.
sharing. Been an amazing evening, and since we're getting towards that, I think we should start wrapping things up. So, just in case for those that are just joining in, or just as a reminder, how can they contact? How can they learn more about Warrior Horse and be able to contact you on donations, volunteering, and whatnot?
Just go to warriorhorse.net and you can donate. You can find out more. You can see videos with some of the veterans that have been through the program, some of the interviews that have been done here with the local news. And you can go to Facebook as well. There's a donate button on there with all kinds of information and posts about all of our horses and the veterans and all our supporters. A matter of fact, we just recently had a convention that was canceled in Orlando, Florida
Mm.
for the National Chimney Sweep Guild that we do every year. And they did an online convention this year, and the proceeds go to Warrior Horse. So in my chimney community, we just received a check for $15,500
Mm.
because I watched Mary Poppins years ago and became a sweep.
Yeah, speaking of that, again, Patrick saying, do you sing chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim cheree when cleaning the chimneys?
Only when I'm on the rooftops, not in the customers' homes. Unless there's children, of course, who request it.
Oh, I'm imagining it in my head for some reason.
Yeah, I just kind of got that as well. I'm trying to hold back.
So I just wanted to thank you so much for joining me tonight. It was a great pleasure. And just for everyone out there, just go support Warrior Horse and just be able to support your veterans so that they could live a fulfilling and purposeful life. So
They deserve nothing less than our best.
yeah. And especially also to thank everyone who has joined us, whether right now live or in a replay. And of course, again, social media, Facebook, Instagram, and a Patreon page in case you decide to, contribute so we can keep the show going, to be able to bring out more people like Kevin with nonprofits like Warrior Horse. So, and just being able to support them. And again, this is Christopher D. Casson, the autistic. I was wondering when my brain was going to freeze up, and now it does it at the
At least
very
it
end.
went Thru Autistic Eyes.
Yeah, Thru Autistic Eyes, the podcast / videocast. So thank you guys so much again, and we'll see you for next time. So take care, everyone.
Bye, y'all.